Welcome to the WRC podcast. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and you're in the right place. Here at the Well-Rounded Counselor podcast, what you can expect is to learn, shift your thinking, and gain personal and professional growth. And if you have not yet done so, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another podcast episode. The conversation starts now. Hey everybody, welcome back to my podcast, The Well-Rounded Counselor. I'm your host, Katrina Marie. It is a beautiful day and I'm so excited to bring you this topic. And this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, as usually every topic is. But this one is particularly important to me for a variety of different reasons. Today, we're going to be talking about why every counselor needs a counselor. Now, technically, you don't need to be a counselor to be listening to this podcast and to be following along with this particular episode. But ultimately, the idea behind every counselor needs a counselor stems from that we all need someone that we can go to when we're facing difficult times, when we're facing, challenges, ethical dilemmas, decision-making, emotions, managing our emotions. We basically need someone to talk with. And like I said, you don't need to be a counselor to request this in your life or utilize this in your life. So as a counselor, I know that I take on a lot from other people. I take on their emotions. I take on their drama. I take on their experiences. I take on the stress in their life because I want to empathize with them. I want to be able to relate. I want to be able to give them my best foot forward. I want to give them energy. I want to bring focus into their life, that I am paying attention to every detail that they're sharing with me. I want to show care and concern. And that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of work, just for one person sometimes. And it can be a bit draining. I'm not going to lie. There are days where I do take my work home. What do I mean by that? I take home the emotional angst of maybe what I experienced that day at work or working with a student or a parent or even another friend or colleague. If something is weighing me down because the topic was quite heavy, sometimes I'm not able to shake it. And sometimes I need to talk with someone about that. And how many of you face this in your own job or in your own circle of friends or at school? You hear about something or your friend or family opens up to you about something very personal and it's just weighing you down and you can't get it off your mind. I know this happens to me pretty regularly. Now, it doesn't happen to me every single day, thankfully. However, there are days where I just need to offload that emotion of how much it's weighing me down. And we sometimes just need to talk to someone. And I know I have particular people that I go and speak to for different things. I know that they know my personality. I know that I can trust them. I feel comfortable with them. And I've chosen them without them really knowing I've chosen them. I've chosen each and every single person that I go and talk to because I know that they add value and they give me very thoughtful feedback. Now, sometimes I don't always ask for feedback and I just say, look, I need you to just listen because I have a lot on my mind and I really don't want any feedback. I just want you to listen. And that's okay too. I want people to understand that it's okay to just ask people to listen because you just need to dump it out. You just need to get all that stuff floating and swirling around in your head out of your system. And it is very freeing. It is a release. And sometimes, I used to journal a lot. And so I used to journal about, emotions that are weighing me down from work or from working with people. And that was another way to release whatever it is that was holding on to in my body, in my mind. And I didn't have to necessarily go to anybody. But for me, I also love feedback. I also love knowing how I can improve and be better. And I don't know what person doesn't like that. We all want feedback, whether it's constructive or sometimes hurtful. It can help us grow ultimately. but we usually prefer the constructive feedback. So let's just focus on that. We usually want that constructive feedback of how we can proceed forward, how we can show up differently in the next day, or, just coping mechanisms, of how to manage our emotions and our own stress. So that feedback's really important. I know that for me, I talk to my dad every single Sunday. And not every single Sunday do I bring him a topic that I'm stressed out about, because I don't need to go to him, but there are some personal topics that I prefer bringing to him because I know he's going to bring value and add value into my life. Same goes for my boss at work. I go to her for specific topics because I know that she's going to give me a totally different perspective that will totally put me on a different perspective and trajectory of how I would have maybe approached the situation or handled it, or shift my frame of thinking. I have friends, outside of work and outside of my family. I go to them for a totally different angle of advice. And I talk with them about topics, whether it's work and balancing my life, my personal life. And they too can give valuable insight. And you always want to go to these people who know you the best, and they can ultimately take care of you. When we open up to people, they have a sense of responsibility to take care of us, because let's be honest, you usually probably take care of them. If you are in a helping role, if you're a counselor, a lot of people are coming to you for advice because they know that that's what you do for a living. They know that you're trained in this. And so we have a sense of responsibility with our friends, our family, our work family, to take care of each other. So this topic of every counselor needs a counselor is something that we need to incorporate into our life every single day or every single week. This is not something that you just do once a year. Like you just can't walk around holding these things in. It's not helpful for anybody, and it's not helpful for your practice. So make sure that you are working with a family friend or a work colleague. Also, you can pay for this. You can go and talk to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a mentor or a life coach. Like you can pay for this service as well if there's somebody in your life that you don't feel like you can go to, or you just want a third party, somebody that doesn't pass judgment, that doesn't know your past that well, can kind of see things from a non-biased perspective. So you can always go and talk to a life coach or a mentor. And I highly recommend that as well, in addition to all the other support systems you have in place. Because let's face it, I know that I definitely had someone that I was going to very consistently once a week, and she would give me really good third-party advice. And I know that when I would go to her, I would just feel so much better. And I could somehow just open up to her, and there would be this like non-biasy, like although she had developed this client relationship with me where I was her client, there was still this idea of she didn't know every single thing. Now, when we have this third party person, let's be honest, we tend to hold back everything. They don't always know the deep, dark truths of our past or what's always going on, and we only reveal what we want to reveal to them. So that can actually work against you sometimes when you hire out third parties, like a psychiatrist or psychologist or mentors and stuff. But if you're willing to open up and to take their help, to seek their advice, if you're willing to put everything on the table, then do it. It's worth the investment. It's worth getting that professional support to help push you through to become a better person in whatever it is that you are seeking advice for. Okay. So how many of you out there work alone? I know I've worked alone in my department. In my previous jobs, I was the only counselor for an entire division. And there were times where I had to deal with ethical dilemmas on my own, and I had to make professional judgments on my own without seeking any counsel or advice. And that can be pretty hard. And at that time, I remember trying to find job-alike community, people that also were in the same boat looking for support within the same company I was working for. Now, we weren't working at the same schools, but we were working for a company that had a bunch of different schools. So I know that other people who were also solo counselors running the division themselves, they also needed someone to talk to just say, hey, am I doing this right? Or is this how you do that? Or how would you handle this situation? And we all need that in our practice. We all need someone that we can rely on, that we can go to. We know we could just pick up the phone or send that quick email. It's super important that we have that. And then I've worked on the other end of the spectrum where, I work in a team, and I currently do. And I work with people that bring a variety of different skills and expertise to the table. And when we're all combined and unified, we are just unstoppable. And it's pretty incredible when you have that chemistry as a team and you have that well-rounded tool belt on you guys that can pretty much take on anything that could possibly come your way. And to be honest, I loved every single person that's been on my team. I've seen people come and go. So I've been with the same school for a long time, and I've seen a lot of people come and go and move on and come in. And it's just been so delightful to learn from each and every single one of them, because every single person that I've been in touch with and who's been a part of my team, they've helped me become a better counselor. They've helped me see sides of myself that I can keep working on or improving, or they teach me things that I didn't even know that I didn't know. And I love that about a team, because when somebody lacks certain confidence in an area of topic, that person, without any spoken agreement, they just swoop in and they pick up and they know how to not let you sink. If you don't know the answer, everyone is there to support each other, and we all bring different strengths to the team, which is something that I feel as a counselor we all need. And it's such a benefit if you're able to work with other people on your team in your division, because that's when, when you're dealing with those tough times, those tough days, those tough weeks, and you just need to go step into somebody's office with the tissue box, or start your morning off just getting a little pep talk. It really makes a difference. I know that there's been countless times where maybe somebody went off on me on the phone, or I got a parent complaint, or just something that just made me feel bad. I knew that I can immediately just take a few minutes away from my desk and I can just go talk to somebody, and then they would just hopefully help me feel so much lighter, so much better. They would reinstill that confidence in me and remind me who I am. And that's why I say every counselor, no matter what, needs a counselor. Every person needs someone that they can go and talk to and step away from their desk, step away from that environment, step away from that situation, and go talk to somebody that you care about and cares about you. It's so important for our well-being, our mental health. And like I said, there's been countless times that I've done this, and I cannot tell you that is something that is priceless. It's like if you have people in your life that you can go to, it is something that it's just like these things work out in your favor. I don't know how to explain it. Like everywhere I've been, every situation I've been in my whole life, these people just naturally gravitate toward you. You just naturally feel their vibe, and you just naturally know, aha, this is the person I can go and talk to. I just know it. And you just click, and you just feel like you can gel. And yes, there are people out there where you click and then you realize later on, like, you guys are not, a good compatible match. But sometimes it's very instantaneous, and you just know, like, certain people in your office or your family or friendship circles, you just know that you can go to them and seek their advice and support. Now, like I said, if you are somebody that works in a team or you are working alone in your own department, there are different ways to build community still. Now, there are thousands of professional organizations out there on practically any topic you can think of. I know in the counseling world, there's loads of different professional organizations that you could join for a fee. There are free Facebook groups out there. There are Facebook groups if you're a paid member to that organization as well. However, it's so important that you find community that you can get support from. And I know even as a team, like we are on these Facebook groups because sometimes we just have a quick question and we want to shoot that quick question out to other counselors out there in the uh, internet space and ask, what are other people doing on this related topic? If we're kind of stuck as a team and we don't know what to do and everything we've been doing as a team isn't working, what are other schools doing that is possibly working? And that's something that can be so easy to do. You can find so many free support groups on Facebook and pages you can follow. That's great. Then there's this paid organizations, counseling organizations that you can join where they have their own networking platforms that you can join as well. I always say this, get a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, reach out to me on my Instagram because, like I said, we all need someone that we can feel connected with, that we can bring our not only our bad stuff, but our good stuff too. I know that when I was in grad school, I had mentors. I know that when I was in my different work placements, I had mentors. Each one brought different perspective for that season of my life, and each one taught me what I needed to know to advance to my next role. Now I'm in a place where I have a very select number of people I work with, where whether I pay them or they're close family members, friends, or colleagues that I work with. And like I said, I go to each and every one of them for different things. Not all of them I go to are for the same exact topic. If it is something that I know that I can go to more than one person, okay, fine. I can go to more than one person with that topic. But you start to feel overwhelmed with people's opinion and what you should do. But then you can also find the good in that. If everyone's saying the same thing, that's also a good sign. That means that's what you should be doing. So if more than one person's saying the same thing at a different time, then definitely do that as well. Take all those people's advice on that topic or that situation. If there's no other counselors or you're not finding the right resources out there, find an administrator at your school or another boss that leads a department at your job, somebody that is a leader, somebody that has experience. Find somebody that you can connect with, or ask your colleagues who they go to. Ask your own colleagues, do they go to somebody when they're struggling with something at work, or, you know, they don't have someone directly above them. Maybe there's just somebody in a different department that you can potentially connect with. You can talk with your HR and see what your insurance covers. I know that that has been something I've done in the past where with my grief counseling, I wanted to see if my insurance covered any sort of professional help in that way. I know that that can also get covered for many different people out there. So if you need to go and talk to somebody professionally outside of work, ask and see if your insurance covers that, because that can be one less expense you have to stress out about. And then you also get that professional advice. There's online resources out there for counseling where you don't actually have to go physically in to talk to somebody now, which is quite convenient. So make sure that you look those up. I'm not going to name any because they don't sponsor this podcast. However, there are plenty of these types of platforms out there where you can get help for a much cheaper cost or next to nothing cost. So yeah, so this is why every counselor needs a counselor. These are some of the anecdotes of my experience. This is what I've encountered. This is how I feel you can help yourself, whether you're a counselor or you're just a person out there looking for ways to help yourself and offload the stresses of life, offload um, the things that you take on daily in your role. Like I said, I know that in my current role, there's so much happening every single day. I don't even feel like I have like enough arms to manage all the tasks sometimes, and the day just slips away. It flies by. And I don't even know how I managed to get what I got done, because let's face it, our days as counselors in our job, we might have a schedule and it gets totally just landslides off of our table. Our calendar has to get cleared because we have to go deal with something that takes priority over everything else, which does happen. So after those kind of days, I know I need someone to go and talk to. After those types of days where I don't get to accomplish what I need to accomplish and I'm starting to feel behind, I know I need to go talk to somebody. I mean, this is a coping mechanism is communication and saying how you feel. A lot of people, I can't even tell you, they are not in touch with their feelings. They don't know how to communicate. And these are two big things that a lot of people seem to lack nowadays. And if you are that person where you just don't open up about your feelings and you don't know how to communicate what you're feeling and you don't know how to communicate to ask for help, you will struggle. You will struggle. And you need to be able to do one or two or even all three of those things. So there you have it. Here's my reasons why every counselor needs a counselor. I hope that this information has helped you. Remember, I do have my social media at wellrounded_consulting. I also have my YouTube page, The Well-Rounded Counselor. And I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. And if you're looking for more other topics that I have, stay tuned. I am producing lots of amazing content for this show. And if you're interested in becoming a guest, I am taking inquiries. So make sure that you reach out to me on my Instagram if you hear this, whether it's in real time or another time as a replay. And I will catch you all on the next video. Did you love the episode? I hope you're feeling inspired and no longer feeling alone out there, and you're ready to evolve and become a better person. Make sure that you share this podcast or take a screenshot and post it on your social media. That's how you help spread this podcast organically, and people can find it much easier when you share, or share it with a loved one. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and make it your mission to be a blessing in someone else's life today.